springtime here in the mountains and you get outside and you see nature is just growing and blooming and all of the plants and the flowers are coming up. And it reminds me of this story. Many, many years ago, humans, animals, reptiles, fish, they could all talk and they understood each other. And humans were very much grateful to what the animals and the insects could do for them. And then, as sometimes humans do, they forgot to give thanks when they received something from an animal. They no longer were respectful. They just stepped on the insects. They didn't try to step around them. And they got really tired of this. So they had a big council. The bears went first, and they always met up under what's now called Klingman's Dome, and in the caves under there. And they met there. In Cherokee, we say Kawahi, which means mulberry. The bears talked about all the things that they had seen the hunters doing and how upset they were at that. They decided they were going to war against the humans. And they said, well, what kind of weapons are we going to use? Because if we get close enough to them with our teeth and our claws, then they have knives and spears. And they said, well, we'll just do the same thing that they do. When they hunt at a distance, we will use bows and arrows. They said, oh, okay. So they fashioned a bow, and one bear sacrificed himself so that they could use the entrails as the string. When they drew back to shoot the first arrow, their long claws tangled up in the string, and they could not shoot the arrow. So another bear said that they would sacrifice their claws, cut their claws so that they could shoot the arrow. And the chief of the bears said, no, we have already lost one of our brothers to this idea. We are not going to lose you. You need your claws. So they just forgot about the whole thing. Next, the deer had a council. And they thought, well, we can't use weapons, but what we can do is we can call a disease. And if a hunter kills one of us without the proper word of thanks and gratitude, then we will send the spirit of our leader deer, and they will follow that hunter home and give that hunter rheumatism and cripple him so that he can't hunt anymore. They thought that was a really good plan. Well, the smaller animals, the chipmunk and the ground squirrel, the flying squirrel, the birds, they too had been treated awful. And they were trying to think of ways that they could trap the humans and hurt the humans, except for the little chipmunk. And he spoke up and said, no human has ever tried to hurt me. I don't know why we're trying to hurt them. This made them so angry, they chased him around and reached out and scratched marks all the way down his back. They kept talking and trying to come up with another way and what to do, and they couldn't think of anything that they could do to make this war. Next, it was the snakes and the other reptiles. They decided they would cause the humans to dream horrible dreams about rotten fish and slimy snakes that were scary. And this is why sometimes we will dream about fish and snakes, even today. The last were the insects, the little worms and the insects. And they came up with probably the best idea to start the war on the humans, which was each of them was going to create a disease. And the humans would be greatly affected by these diseases and they would die out. Well, just as they were getting ready to start their plan, which probably would have wiped out all the humans, the plants and the flowers and the trees felt very sorry for the humans. and said, that's not the way to do that. That's not the way to treat this problem. So they each decided that they would come up with a treatment for each disease that had been created. Each medicine would be the remedy for those diseases. And that's what they did. And that's why we are still here.